Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaladari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaladari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivachucha Asatata Satishi Srimad. His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chayeva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Shinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hiriyanto Sto Bhadrani Virunoti Suritsatam Nastaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Yeah, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, Text 7, entitled The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha. Tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyas tad deva yajanam samidvat vedasaha yayuhu tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yahuyu tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu. Yeah, please repeat. Tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu. Tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi bhuyastadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu. Anyone? Mataji's? Anyone? Tato midvamsam amantriya shunashira saharshibihi Tyadeva yajanam samidvad vedaso yayuhu. Okay. Tata, thereafter, midvamsam, Lord Shiva, amantriya, inviting, shunashiraha, the demigods headed by King Indra, saharishibihi, with all the great sages, headed by Bhrigu, bhuyaha, again, tat, that, devayajanam, place where the demigods are worshipped, samidvat, with Lord Shiva, vedasaha, with Lord Brahma, yayuhu, went. Okay. Purport and translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, Bhrigu, the chief of the great sages, invited Lord Shiva to come to the sacrificial arena. Thus the demigods, accompanied by the sages, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma all went to the place where the great sacrifice was being performed. Please repeat. Thereafter, Bhrigu, the chief of the great sages, invited Lord Shiva to come to the sacrificial arena. Thus the demigods, accompanied by the sages, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, all went to the place where the great sacrifice was being performed. Purport. The whole sacrifice arranged by King Daksha had been disturbed by Lord Shiva. Therefore, all the demigods present there, along with Lord Brahma and the great sages, specifically requested Lord Shiva to come and revive the sacrificial fire. There is a common phrase, Shiva Hina Yagya. Any sacrifice without the presence of Lord Shiva is baffled. Lord Vishnu is Yagneshwara, the Supreme Personality in the matter of sacrifice. Yet, in each yagya, it is necessary for all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, to be present. Om Agyantimyandasha Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Saradvaitam Savadutam Purichana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishankam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jigapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Parthasarthi Das Goswami Nityanamane Das Goswaminam Vande Namabhajana Samsayam Yam Yadeshe Guru Desha Stapakam Shrittavatsalam Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashita Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Chaitanya Chaitam Bhojam Makalandalayopajeya Prashara Matrena Paramopi Amaro Bhavet Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Labhayate Garim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Okay, thank you everyone for attending today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So this is a very nice pastime. I remember this was a pastime I remembered very clearly. First time I read Srimad Bhagavatam, because King Daksha's head gets replaced with a goat's head. I thought that was unbelievable. I thought I was, what am I reading here? It's like amazing. So Lord Shiva, he's one of the Mahajanas. I think the verse goes, Mahajano Yena Kata Sapantaha, which means he's one of the 12 Mahajanans, or great personalities, in which we should follow his instructions. We should be very careful to distinguish between following someone's activities and following their instructions. This pastime can be a little bit confusing, because if we understand the pastime, we see that Lord Shiva, when he's at the sacrificial arena of Prajapati Daksha, surrounded by all the other great sages like Bhrigu Muni, and the great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Indra, Agni Dev. They're all present. Yet when Prajapati Daksha arrived on the scene, he didn't offer his obeisances to him. And for someone who understands Vaishnava etiquette and Vedic culture, this is considered unfathomable. When we enter the temple, we always, bow down to Srila Prabhupada, to the deities. We always say Vanchakapa Tarubhyascha. We offer all our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and any respectable personalities. So this is a very important part of Vedic culture. And it seemed like Lord Shiva had forgotten this. But actually, Lord Shiva, he's the greatest Vaishnav. He's Mata Vaishnavam Shambhu. He's the greatest Vaishnav. And he exemplified this. He stated to Sati, his wife, or to-be wedded wife, that he actually offered his obeisances to all the assembly members of the sacrifice, to the super soul within their hearts, because they're all parts and parcels of Lord Krishna. Sorry, I just wanted to stop for a second. I'm not qualified to give Srimad Bhagavatam class, and it's a very humbling situation for me to be here in the presence of Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj and Prithu Prabhu and all the senior devotees. I pray for their blessings to give a suitable Srimad Bhagavatam class. Please forgive me. Krishna. Continuing, I think we should discuss some of the history behind this pastime. So, Prajapati Daksha, he was requested by Lord Brahma to marry his daughter Sati to Lord Shiva, and this was to be done at this sacrifice. It wasn't the main purpose of the sacrifice, but it was to be conducted there. And Lord Shiva, he didn't offer his respects when Lord Daksha appeared, and so immediately, Prajapati Daksha, he got offended, and him and his associates, they started to blaspheme Lord Shiva. But as we understand here, Lord Shiva, he is all auspicious. The word Shiva, she and Va. The Lord Shiva is all auspicious. He's a manifestation of Krishna's Rajashika Shakti, his material mode of passion. And he has a certain role to play to elevate those who are, in the Tamasika Shakti, the mode of ignorance. It's a personification of the mode of ignorance. And he has a specific role to play to elevate the grossly conditioned souls, to elevate them towards Krishna's lotus feet. It says that Lord Shiva, he has scars around his neck, and he doesn't wash, and he has ashes in his hair. His hair is all matted and dirty. He's worshipped by ghosts, and so it seems like he is a personality you don't want to associate with. But for people in the lower modes of nature, just by associating with them, because he's a great Vaishnav, he's a Mahajana, automatically they get promoted, they get elevated towards Krishna's lotus feet. So, so King Daksha is explaining here that Prabhupada is explaining that the whole sacrifice has been disturbed by Lord Shiva because the past time he wouldn't deal with the situation. He was being attacked and abused by King Daksha and his associates, so he just left the ceremony. And Sati, his soon-to-be wife, he basically told him, that my father is there, my family is there, all the great sages are there, and they're engaging in this great sacrifice. And it would be out of place for Lord Shiva and his wife to not be there at the assembly, the sacrifice. And so she begged him, to please come. And Lord Shiva said, "No, I'm not going to come. If you'd like to go, you can go. I will send my my disciples, Nanda the bull, and you can go to the arena to personally attend the sacrifice." When she attended the sacrifice, she was not actually welcomed. She was not respected, and because of fear of Prajapati Daksha, they didn't want to offend him. And even her father, Daksha, she didn't even welcome her, and completely ignored her, didn't even speak to her. So she became really upset and offended, and she became actually angry. She, she stated that, how could you not invite, Lord Shiva? He is, the greatest of all Vaishnavas. He is, they say, he's Maheshvara, and the supreme personality, and he's endowed with all great good qualities, and he's very peaceful and patient. And she started to chastise her own father, saying that if you're my father and you do not give respect to this great personality, then I do not want to be associated with you. I'd rather give up my life. That being associated with you is like being contaminated. It's like eating food that is mixed with poison. So she was completely livid and angry that she decided to give up her life on the spot. So through the process of mystic yoga, she raised her life air up through her body up to her head, into the chakra, the third eye, and she set herself on fire and burst into flames, giving up her life. It just shows the great devotion that Sati had for Lord Shiva. The word Sati actually means Shishi Radha Radhana, Shishi Giri Govardhan, Shishi Goda Hari Ki. Jai. So the name Sati actually means someone who is very chaste. And Sati actually exemplified that by her great devotion to Lord Shiva. This is a very important point to note. The Vaishnava etiquette that is presented in this pastime is very important for Vaishnavas to learn and follow. How we should respect others. I learned recently that when one wants to take initiation, then now they must take a Vaishnava etiquette course. And so it may be a good idea to read and remember some of these pastimes so that we can have some experience and example of what we shouldn't do in Vaishnava etiquette. That we should offer our respects to all of our senior devotees, great exalted personalities, sannyasis, to Srila Prabhupada, the deities, and we're entering all these things. They're very important to develop the mood and mood of humility and sincerity. There's that verse, Chunadapi Sunichena Tororivasi Hishnunama. So yeah, we should be more tolerant than a tree, more humble than a blade of grass. You know, the blade of grass, when you walk across it, it folds, and then it just springs back up. So, you know, it's very humble and tolerant that, and even though it goes through some tribulation, it goes through difficulty, immediately it springs back up. You know, it doesn't experience. It's very tolerant. So we should develop these qualities. And by hearing the pastimes, like this pastime here, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we can actually develop that mood of humility, and tolerance, sincerity. So it's a good thing. Right. Prabhupada continues in this purport, saying that all the demigods, along with Brahma and the great sages, specifically requested Lord Shiva to come and revive the sacrificial arena. There's a common phrase, Shiva hina yagya, any sacrifice without the presence of Lord Shiva is baffled. So, usually when a sacrifice is being done, all the demigods and sages and great personalities will attend to receive the oblations of the offering of the sacrifice as a blessing, and especially the demigods, because they are like the chief ministers of the material creation, and they have specific duties to play to ensure the maintenance of the material world. So without their presence, then they're not getting the oblations of the sacrifice, and therefore they're not getting the benedictions, the blessings to perform their duties properly for the service of Krishna. So without Lord Shiva there, then he would not be able to perform his duty as a servant of Krishna. So therefore, these great demigods are inviting him back after the complete ceremony was as a disaster, to help start the yajna again, for help it to be successful. But we should understand that the purpose of all yajnas is to please Krishna. There's a verse, Bhakti yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyattvamam shanti richati. That Krishna is the supreme controller, the supreme enjoyer, and he's the friend of all living entities. So all of our activities are meant for this purpose, to remind us of this purpose, that Krishna is the supreme controller, that he is the friend of all living entities, and he's like the supreme provider. So for that reason, Lord Shiva is required to be there at the sacrifice. A quality of Lord Shiva is that he is asutosh, which means he is very easily satisfied. And there are a couple of pastimes which exemplify this great quality of his. So, a pastime where a devotee of his was worshipping him, and he was going through great austerities and penances, to try to please him, ultimately to achieve a great boon. So he would worship him, and he would fast for many, many days, and he was praying, and he was even sacrificing his own blood in the sacrifice to please him. One day his austerities got to some point so extreme that he decided to cut his head off. And at that point, Lord Shiva came and he said, "No, please don't. You're my great devotee. Please tell me, what is your benediction? What is your boon? I'm happy to grant you this benediction." And he said basically that I would like to have the benediction that anyone I touch, they will die. Their head will fall off and die. And Lord Shiva, he granted this boon. And then so happened that he actually decided to try out this boon on Lord Shiva himself. And we find that Lord Shiva, he was running away from his very own devotee, being afraid that he may be killed. So then he approached, I'm sure if it was Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. It was probably Lord Vishnu. Do you know perhaps Chaitanya Maharaj? Right. So he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, "My devotee is trying to kill me. Please save me from the situation." So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he came onto the scene, and he basically tricked him, and he said that, Lord Shiva, he didn't actually give you a great boon. You're not empowered to kill anyone. So maybe you should try and touch your own head and see if the benediction that you were given actually works. So he did, and his own head fell off, and he killed himself. You see, so Lord Shiva is Ashutosh, and he's very easily pleased. And it's very easy to please him and for him to give benedictions. At the same time, sometimes he gives such benedictions that he puts himself into great danger, and even he himself has to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is our supreme shelter, and he will protect us in all situations. That we just have to have faith and follow the process and surrender. And surrender is a process. It doesn't quite happen right away. Sometimes it takes time. So we should continue to try to develop our surrender and increase our devotion, our time to hearing and chanting and serving Krishna, and try to serve, with purity. There's a verse, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmani Anavritam Nukuyana Krishna Anu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. We should try to serve Krishna without any desire for speculative knowledge or fruitive activities, and should be akuyana, which means should be favorable towards Krishna, to pleasing Krishna. This is the platform that we want to achieve, and it's a platform that Srila Prabhupada is trying to give us within this ISKCON society. So if we try to continue this process, eventually we'll come to the platform which will please Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. So there is another pastime actually I read this recently in the Caitanyacandra, where Prabhupada he quotes a pastime of Lord Shiva, where he is being advised. That there was a king named Kashiraj, and he wanted to please his wife by taking a mango tree, Lord Krishna's mango tree, and he was willing to fight with Krishna over it. So he went to Lord Shiva to ask for benedictions, to acquire the power to fight Krishna and to win this mango tree. And basically, in the fight, he was helped by Lord Shiva, but ultimately he was defeated and killed by Lord Krishna. And afterwards, Lord Shiva, he regretted the decision and became conscious of his mistake by trying to help Kashiraj, the king of Kashi, the city of Kashi, and he begged for Lord Krishna's forgiveness. So again, we see that Lord Shiva is very easily satisfied, being a devotee of the Lord. So it says that the verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, verse 3, chapter 3, verse 9, Yagnartat kamano nantra loko yam karma bandhana tarartam kama kunteya mukta sangha samachara, which means basically that work has to be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, and all other work is a source of bondage to this material world. Therefore, we should perform our prescribed duties for his satisfaction, for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that way, we'll become free from bondage. So, this sacrifice in this yajna that was being performed by Prajapati Daksha and the demigods are meant for pleasing Krishna. Krishna is the source of all benedictions for sacrifice. And in this age of Kali, that the sacrifices age is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That this yajna is Srila Rupa Goswami's the first anga for practicing devotional service. That Nam Kirtan, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the best process for rendering devotional service to Krishna, and it will purify our hearts. The Cheta Darpano Marjanam, that it will cleanse the mirror of the heart of the dust that has accumulated for many thousands and thousands of years. So this Nam Kirtan, Sankirtan, can be individually japa, and also congregational chanting. It may be in Nam Hattas. It can also be congregational Harinam. And even Srimad Bhagavatam is a form of Sankirtan, because we are engaged in hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord. So these processes are very conducive for making spiritual advancement. And we should base our whole lives around this Nam Kirtan, Nam Sankirtan, congregational chanting, hearing and chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And we should make an endeavor to make this an integral part of our lives. We can go out and distribute books, even here in Chatsworth, I went out just the other day, just to the shopping mall, and I was very surprised. The locals, they were taking some of Srila Prabhupada's books, so we just have to try to reach out to them. We can give them the holy name, give them Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books is also hearing and chanting. That they read the books and they get purified. The Prabhupada, he said once that that reading his books is like it's like pure chanting. It's like the words of a pure devotee. So chanting is very important. It gives a chance for the conditioned souls to wake up, to hear the pure words, the words of a pure devotee, and also chanting the holy names in the association of devotees it gives us spiritual strength, and also it's very attractive. I was watching a lot of Harinam videos, and the people of Africa, they love to dance and they love to sing. So we can do Harinam, and it'd be a very conducive way to preach to the South Africans, and to promote, to keep moving this South African yatra. This isn't just this is for anyone and everyone. That it doesn't have to be someone who is living in the temple. Even those who are outside, who are working jobs, they can invite their co-workers to Namhata groups and say, my dear Fred, work has been very stressful this week. Why don't you come to one of my programs where we'll do some meditation? It will help you to relieve your stress from work. So we can invite them like that, and reach out to people. Prabhupada, this movement, ISKCON, is a preaching movement. It's a movement of spiritual activism, that we should try to reach out to the conditioned souls, just like Srila Prabhupada did. And he came to the West, and he could have lived perfectly happily in Vrindavan, the Radha Damodar temple, and chant Hare Krishna and pass away very peacefully. But he came all the way to the West, to America and Europe, and his disciples, they came here to South Africa to preach here also, to the Africans and the Westerners here. So we should try to follow the mood of Srila Prabhupada as his disciples, to try to reach out to all the people, to all the conditioned souls. I was reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita recently, and Prabhupada, he was the first time that he was going out with his disciples to Thompson Square Park, and the disciples are really hesitant to go out. They're like, I don't want to do this, we've just been chanting indoors, and I feel this is more spiritual, and I think this is like, I don't know if I can do this, it seems so open, and people would judge us and all these things. So they were hesitant at first, but once Prabhupada arrived at Thompson Square Park with the devotees, and they started chanting, and they just started engaging in the chanting, then all their worries went away, all their hesitations and worries, they just left them as they were chanting the holy names. So we should develop some faith in chanting the holy names, and try to give it to other people. Actually, Prabhupada, he wrote in the seven purposes of ISKCON, and the 7 purposes, give us an idea of what was Srila Prabhupada's mood for coming to the West. that he was here to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and educate people in spiritual life, like what is spiritual life, and to bring about peace and harmony in this world, and to bring people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, actually understanding that life is meant for knowing God and understanding who Krishna is, who God is, why we're brought into this material world, why good people have to suffer, what happens after death. These questions. It's our duty as members of ISKCON to try to reach out to people and tell them this message, that they're not this body. And to a few others is to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of Krishna, as revealed in the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and erect a society, a community, a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to bring members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. This sixth purpose is actually Srila Prabhupada's desire for keep pushing on the ISKCON movement, that the first 50% was dedicated towards preaching and expanding the Krishna consciousness movement through distribution of literature and performing of Sankirtan, chanting the holy name. The second half, Prabhupada was trying to push forward Varnashram and also farm communities, places where devotees they could take shelter of and live peacefully without the added stress and the pressures of society, where we have to work and just for little money, just to maintain our families, and then we don't have any time for practicing Krishna consciousness, to reading Srila Prabhupada's books, or sometimes even chanting our 16 rounds, which is what Prabhupada desired just as a minimum that we should try to follow. We should do this. And but we shouldn't neglect the first 50% of the movement, because that will help us to build the other 50%. That we should still continue to reach out to others, to distribute Prabhupada's books, to invite people to Nam Hatha programs from our work, to try to give them Krishna consciousness as much as we are in facility capable of doing. We should try. This is Srila Prabhupada's mood. So we should try to push on this ISKCON movement. It is a spiritual movement to try to reach out to the fallen conditioned souls. It is a movement of preaching and activism and trying to bring all the conditioned souls back to Srila Prabhupada's feet, to Lord Krishna's feet. So I'll end my class there. If there's any questions or comments, and I'll gladly take them now. Hare Krishna. No. Anyone? Mataji's? Comments, questions, anything? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai.